listening to You'll Understand When You're Younger, where I talk to young adults about what it's like to be them. I'm Vanessa Baker, and I'm a parent and teenager mindset coach, and I'm a mom of 5 teenagers. And my goal is to inspire adults to see teenagers as highly valuable members of society. I'm here to crush the mindset that teenagers are problematic, and I'm so glad that you're here right now. So today, my guest is an amazing person who I've known for years, and I think we'll just jump right in. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, right off the bat, what would you say you're known for?
Honestly, out of all of these questions, I think that one was really hard for me. I don't really know what I'm known for. And honestly, if anything, I think I kind of confuse people because I don't know. That question was hard for me.
What do you think, if you were to step outside of yourself or be able to be a fly on the wall and your name came up in conversation, what are you proud of yourself about? And what would people say, oh, she's fill in the blank?
I mean, I think if people would talk about me, they would probably say that I'm probably considerate and kind, and I don't know, if they said something I was good at, they'd probably say my writing or something, because that's something I'm proud of. I don't know.
Awesome. Yeah, good. That leads to my next question that I wanted to ask you, which is what do you really like the most about yourself? It could be about, a characteristic or a trait, or what are you most proud about, like an accomplishment or a skill? And don't hold back. Say whatever comes to mind.
All right, cool. I mean, honestly, I'm probably most proud of my writing style because I feel like I'm just a lot better at articulating myself, articulating and expressing myself compared to speaking. I like choosing my words carefully, and I'm able to do that with writing. And I don't know. Other than that, I mean, I do kind of like who I am. I do like that. Even if I'm not successful in some other ways, I'm kind, and I don't know. I'm pretty authentic.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. I like that. That made me smile so big just to be sitting here and have the opportunity for you to presence yourself to that thought about yourself today. That just made my day. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, if you think about your overall life, the ups, the downs, the ins and the outs, what would you say is your main source of support in your life?
I really think that's my friends. For a while, when I first started dating my boyfriend, I realized that I kind of started depending on him almost entirely for support, and then I don't know, that made me anxious. So then I realized I really have to realize that I have support in a lot of different places, and I have to take advantage of that.
Great, great. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that's a good lesson to learn. I've been there. I totally get that. So, overall in your life, what would you say matters the most to you?
um I mean, overall in life, I would say just love and relationships. I don't know. I think that I don't know. Life is really who you spend it with, you know? And if I had to say what matters most in my life right now, what I'm focused on, then I'd say I'm working on becoming independent, but overall in life, I think like relationships are probably the most important.
Yeah, great. And you are at that transition point in your life where you're thinking of what's after your last year of high school, right? What's that been like for you to navigate this crazy time of life?
Um Honestly, there was like a while where I was like super super scared of like choosing a job. Like I kind of obsessed over it for a little bit because I felt like I had to decide. And like I still kind of feel that pressure because it's really really scary going to college and like paying to like be unsure. Like I don't want to do that. So honestly, it's really stressful, but it is exciting. I have to look at it that way. Like there's a lot that my life could become and I don't know. I just won't know until I do it.
Right. It's like taking a risk, betting on yourself, right? That you'll figure it out and maybe find out that you have figured it out already and you just need to continue down that path. Or, yeah, it's like really feeling, I can get that, how it feels risky to invest like that. And it's the beginning of what you'll call your profession potentially. What are you leaning toward right now?
Um I'm leaning towards psychology, but I just part of the thing with that is I feel so unsure about choosing that field because I feel like there's a lot of competition and like I don't know. I think I'm going to pursue it anyways because I feel like I can contribute my own unique perspective and I feel like I have the right mentality for it that some people that go into the field might lack. I don't know. Not to like sound like I feel like I'm better than other people, but like I feel like I don't know. I can contribute in a way that other people might not be able to, so it's worth trying.
Right. And when you said that, I didn't hear that you think you're better. I heard confidence. And I like that a lot. I like that a lot. That sounded like
Thank you.
she sounds confident, it didn't sound like you were comparing yourself to anyone, it just sounded like you know yourself, which is a good thing. That's great. Can I ask you about your parents?
Sure.
Okay, so what do you think matters the most to your parents right now as it relates to you in your life?
I would probably say like my success as a young adult, but I think that's fine and that makes sense and that's a good thing. I don't know. I think they just want to see me get out of the house and not throw my life away.
That's fair. Do you feel like you understand what their measure of success is in terms of being like launching yourself into adulthood? Do you know what they count as you've done it or you haven't done it?
um kind of. I would say well, I think I do understand what matters to them and stuff and I don't know. We're pretty close, and if anything, maybe my idea of success is a little bit different. But at the end of the day, I understand that it's mostly just like as long as I can support myself and like I don't know. There's nothing wrong with asking for help, but like I don't know. I just have to use common sense and not. Mm, as long as I have a place to live and I'm not like doing bad, horrible things, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's
that's fair. That doesn't sound like too terrible of a hurdle at this point for where how hard you've worked and where you're at in your life. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so speaking of how far you've come in your life, like, here you are making this big decision. You have sort of a clear sense about what you want to do and what you want to study. What would you say overall is the smartest decision you have ever made?
Um, it definitely wasn't just like a decision I made like consciously, I think, but like at some point in my life I realized that I had to become an advocate for myself because like I didn't want to like ask for things that I wanted or like I don't know. I just
Tell me an area in which you became an advocate for yourself.
well, like I've had like all these identity crises and right, but I don't know. I think part of like learning to love myself was like just like going with it and like um just like trying things that I believe in, like when I was a vegetarian, even though I don't like do that anymore. I just I think the best parts of my life have always been when I stood up for myself.
Wow. That's very powerful. That's really powerful. It's like you listen to yourself and your instincts on the path that you needed to take. You pursued it. Did you get some noise in the background questioning you? And did you have to stand up for yourself? Is that what you're implying?
Yeah. Like even if
Yeah.
I wasn't right, I'm still glad.
Yeah, tell me what is even right, right? I don't mean ethics like right and wrong. I mean like right for you at the time. Could you even say it was
Exactly.
wrong to have been that? It was just a path you needed to take, and it didn't mean you had to stick with it for the rest of your life. It's just something you wanted to explore, and it sounds like to me you had the guts and the courage and the confidence to explore it, and then have the humility to let it play out and turn a different direction because maybe it wasn't your exact perfect path anymore, right?
Hell yeah.
Awesome. I love that. What's the dumbest thing you've ever done?
um that's like repeating dumb mistakes. And a good example of that is like I got in trouble for being in possession of something and then I like I got it again and I put it right in the same spot and that's just so silly. That's like who does that?
So not hiding it better.
Yeah.
do you do you think that you're worried about the thing? You can tell you're anonymous. You can say what it is or not. Don't worry. You don't have to. And you know that I'm not out to get you and you're an
Yeah.
adult. So, like, how often do you hear in your life that you matter, that you're important, that someone believes in you?
Um I feel like I hear it enough and if I'm not hearing it enough then um I don't know. I feel like I surround myself with the right people that I hear it enough. I have like good friends that I know I can like go and talk to them if I need to hear something. I don't know.
Yeah, like you can ask for encouragement when you need it, or if you're feeling down, it sounds like you have people where they'll just be like, "Oh yeah, I'm here. What do you need?" And they give you what you need. Do you feel like you get that sort of feedback from your parents enough?
Sometimes, but like not necessarily like in the same way. Like I feel like I mean your friends tend to have the same mindset as you, so that's why I don't know. Sometimes like if you need support with certain things, it might be easier to go to them. So, I don't know. I just feel like parents could work on reacting a little more unconditionally. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. Is there something that has come up for you in the recent past where it would have been great to get, like, a parental point of view, but you settled in a way for your friend's point of view? And if you'd not been fearful of their, say, like you said it, conditional reaction, you would have shared it with your parents and that would have been, like, good for you?
I mean, honestly, I don't really know because I feel like eventually, if I have something to say, I say it anyways, eventually. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm bad at hiding stuff because I just say it and, like, I don't know. And usually it doesn't work out for me. But I don't know.
So if you had it your way and you could just blurt out freely whatever's on your mind, whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're sure about or unsure about, either way, and you would know that you weren't going to be sorry that you said it because they were going to listen and sort of explore it with you, show you some different angles maybe that you hadn't seen. Would you prefer that?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's exactly it.
Okay, can you give me a real life example of something where you would have loved to be able to bounce it off your parents, but it really wasn't worth the drama?
I mean, I could just use the example of like, if I have just like a single practical question, say, about a car, and then I bring it up to my dad, I will be hearing things I already know about cars for weeks. Kind of. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like a very mild example, but like,
Right. What do you
I
think
don't know.
motivates that? Where then it's like, I mean, the first thing that I thought of is that he's like, oh my gosh, something that I can talk to my kid about incessantly. We have a connection. I'm never letting this go. I'm desperate. Is that what it
That
feels
is
like? Or is it
probably it. I know that that example is a bad example because I know that that is where it comes from. He just cares. Um, I don't know. It's really more like serious things like like the identity crises. Like I wish I just had room to talk about feeling bad and not feel bad about feeling bad.
wow. That is really well put. I love how you said that a lot. So, this is something that we can edit out if you don't like the way this goes, okay? But if you don't mind, I'd like to say that one of the identity crises that you were facing, as you're calling it, was about your gender identity. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were exploring how you identify, which gender is the best fit. You weren't feeling like your body and your gender were matching up. And that lasted over a year, a few years ago. Is this true?
Yeah.
Okay. So ideally, when this came up for you and this awareness came up for you and you wanted to explore it, what would you have liked for your parents to have, or your dad in specific, to have met you with?
I mean, actually, during that time, my dad was like, he tried a little bit more than my mom did to not be like angry about it, but it's just, it all came from like a place of hurting to begin with, and I just needed time to like go through it, and I don't know, it would have been a lot less. It wouldn't have hurt as much if I had just like, I don't know, like I wouldn't have felt that way about myself. It's really hard to talk about because I
Thank you.
really don't.
Thank you. Can I say something back to you to see if I can help get, like, to see if I'm tracking with you?
Yeah.
So, is it true for you when I say it was already really difficult? Like you said, it came from a place of confusion and pain, and it would have been really helpful and less painful if they had not made it about their own fears and their own worries, but let it stay being about you and your humanity and your processing, etc.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to say. It's just emotions get in the way of my
Yeah.
words.
Well, your emotions are my honor to witness. So thank you for sharing that. What do you think? Is it their worries and their fears and their own fear of judgment, backlash, things like that. Do you think that's what gets in not just your parents' way, but all parents' ways? Like, is that your opinion about what gets in the way of really being there for the people they love the most, their children, when scary stuff comes up or unexpected issues come up?
Definitely. It's really scary for them as well, and I understand that, but it's just like, I don't know. I I think it takes understanding from, like, both parties to be like, this is just really scary in general, and the enemy isn't each other, it's just like the problem.
That's genius. That's absolutely genius. Why do we have to turn on each other, blame each other, look for fault, judge, question, all of the above when an obstacle comes up in life, which is inevitable?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Thank you. Wow. That's so powerful. So, what is something that you wish mattered more to your parents that matters more to you? It could be in the same realm of what we just talked about, or it could be something else. Like, what do they overplay and overemphasize that deep down in your own wisdom and knowledge and experience, they're over worrying about this thing? What would you say that could be?
So, I guess it's kind of, I wish there was more of a focus on feelings, but it's a matter of, we all tend to focus on our own feelings, but we have to realize that, like, other people are just as complex as we are, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I do know. And that's profound because do you think that teenagers, their complexity is downplayed because they're teenagers?
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, it's really boiled down to, like, oh, you're just, like, freaking out because you have all these hormones in your body, but it's like, that doesn't diminish the fact that,
Right.
like, I'm experiencing things.
Right. Yes. Sorry, I was giggling, but yes, it all gets
Yeah.
all we all have hormones our whole life. Yeah, like I realize they're, really flaring up or whatever during puberty, and I do understand that. Like I'm not a doctor, but I don't need to be a doctor to know that. And it so minimizes the experience and then it maximizes the conflict because you're being taken less seriously because of some chemical reaction that's happening in your body, right?
Yeah, which is also super silly because it's also like, so my hormones are all out of whack, but, like, depression and everything, that's just, like, those are also chemical imbalances, and it's like, I don't understand why you feel like it's okay to, like, treat a kid poorly because they have a hormone imbalance, but if there was, like, an adult with a hormone imbalance, or, like, just, like, someone with a mental illness, that's, like, somehow less, I don't know.
Yeah, like less valid. Does valid
Yeah,
fit there?
yeah.
Right. Yeah, I get that. I get that. And like for me, what I want to God, just like I know this sounds really like crazy, but like and big of a statement, but like what I want to leave the world with, like this understanding. Some people have it and some people don't. And I want to get to the people who don't is that we don't have to label everything and oversimplify everything, especially as you put it in the realm of feelings, with our teenagers in specific. It's okay to just like be with it and not have to explain everything. We don't have to explain it away by the whole, like, whatever, 5, 6 years that is teenagerhood, right? Or explain it away with hormones or like, to make ourselves simplify it to feel better. I would like to ask you, do you think it works? Do you think parents actually get what they want when they oversimplify something because of your age or your physiological development?
It does and it doesn't, I think, because it's going to work to an extent, like everything, like if you just ignore something, that doesn't make it go away, but like you can still ignore it and it doesn't bother you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, um,
So short term, tell me if I'm wrong here, but it's like short term ignoring something or downplaying it or minimizing it or underestimating it works on a like a tactical level to get from day to day, but it doesn't solve anything. In fact, it could make it fester and grow more, whatever the it is.
exactly, because you're just assuming there's a situation where one person is being ignored and one person is doing the ignoring. So that's definitely going to create some sort of resentment. Like, and that's just like gonna make it worse when you could just like address it.
Yeah, yeah, it compounds, it festers, it grows, it multiplies like cancer cells when it's untreated, basically, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
actually, I like that word treated. So if a parent were to effectively address or treat any fill in the blank of what a teenager brings to the table, what would be the components of like a protocol that would be effective for teenagers to feel heard and understood and have the thing like be on its way, progressing in a healthy way?
Um, I think like I think everyone probably just has to like put their fears on the table and like I think I don't know, you just have to like kind of lay it out and in some ways you simplify the situation but like you're not like you're not like simplifying anyone's experience. Like you're breaking it down into like what do we need to do, what needs to be said so that like everyone understands everyone, but like yeah. You're not like
Yeah. With that, now say with you exploring your gender a few years ago, if your mom or dad had said to you, I'm really scared because your grandma or your grandpa or my brother, your aunt or uncle, right? My sister, or the teachers or whoever they're scared of judging them because they don't have all this figured out and they think that it's crazy or a trend or whatever. So let me just like restate that. If they had said, these are some of my fears about you potentially identifying as transgender or non binary, and they just said it, this is what I'm scared of, and I just don't know how to handle that if that comes up because of you and what you're going through right now. How would you have felt if they were honest and just were humble and said that fear just like that, plainly?
I mean, the thing is, they did kind of say, I'm afraid of people making fun of you or probably them, but they said making fun of you. And I said, I mean, I'm aware of it and I can handle it, but like, I don't know. For that situation, it was like, I kind of just know, and it's like, I don't know. I know that it's a reasonable fear. Like, no one wants their child made fun of, but like, if it's also implying like that, like, I don't know. I think I'm gonna abandon that thought. I don't know. I don't know how to
That's
say what
fine.
I want to say.
No, that's totally fine. I love it. Do you think it would have been like the next step further to say, I'm scared for you, sweetheart, because I love you and I want you to be safe and not have, more difficulty than ordinary, say, life brings. And I'm also scared for myself. Like, would that have been refreshing for you for them to be real about it's not all about me being scared for you. I'm scared for me too. Would you have liked
Yeah,
to
that
hear
would
that?
yeah, I would have kind of preferred to say that cuz obviously I already thought about that before I brought something so like vulnerable up. But like I guess I had to be understanding that they didn't have the time to think about it, but I don't know.
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. Right. And it's sometimes, right. I get it. Okay. So let's see. If parents were able to get off of this idea that they had to have everything figured out, if they were more accepting of the idea that they could be vulnerable and teenagers, their kids, their young adults can actually handle them being real about their fears and their insecurities and their worries and their stress. This is the longest true or false question on the earth. It's a trick one. No, not really. Like, don't you think? Do you think? It's also, I'm like leading the witness. Do you think that teenagers can handle their parents being real?
Of course. I think it is such a better example of emotional maturity to be humble and just be like, because, like, how are you supposed to know how to act when other people don't display that for you, right? So if you're able to say that I don't really know what's going on and that makes me scared, but I'm able to act independently of my fears, I think that's really powerful. And
That
I
is
start
so well
talking
put.
and then I forget where I'm going. It's
No, I
really
do that too. It's totally fine. This is the place for that. No worries. I do that too. It's okay because I'd rather you just say it. That, what you just said, is extremely powerful. And I appreciate how exactly you worded that and how you articulated that. That was gold right there. So thank you. Okay, so I
thank
want to
you.
know a couple more avenues. You're welcome. You're blowing my mind. You're absolutely proving exactly what it is I'm out to prove. And for the record, you and I had no conversations but a few texts to set up logistics before this, other than that you understood my mission and I let you see the questions that I may or may not have asked you, the planned questions. Of course, it's going in an organic way, right? And this is what's coming out. I could cry right now. You're blowing my mind and proving what I already believe with every cell in my mind, in my body. Everything about me knows that teenagers are brilliant. And you're saying these things, multiple, everything that you've said today is confirming that you deserve respect and you deserve to be heard and you deserve to I guess the opposite of minimized, to be maximized, to be
I like
worshipped,
that.
you know? Yeah, I just want you to get that, like, this is who you are, and what would it be like for you if the conversation around, "Oh, teenagers, they're just a walking ball of hormones, they're such assholes, they're so selfish and moody." Like, what if that conversation wasn't the dominating conversation around teenagers? What would that be like for you to walk around and people to give you all I can think of is the word respect, the respect that you deserve as much as any other age group deserves.
I just think I feel like people would leave their teenage years with like a lot more compassion for others and a lot less problems that they've developed and because they weren't able to deal with their own problems, you know?
Right. Yeah.
I think that like I don't know. The world would be a lot better. That's all because like teens do have a lot to say and they are full people with full brains. Not full. Oh my gosh, I'm done. I can't talk.
No, that was actually funny and good. You do not technically have a fully developed brain, but you are a full person. And it
Yeah.
is like I know that does sound kind of silly. Like I get like why you giggled and why you said that, but at the same time like it's really true. And the thing is too relate to another person as a whole human being instead of a partial one or an uncooked one or an unfinished one, like, that provides for this level of relationship and dignity that makes the relationship better. Do you see what I'm saying? It's kinda like a chicken or the egg thing, or like that thing, how do I get a job if I don't have experience? How do I get experience if I don't have a job? So I'm flipping that to teenagers. If you start treating teenagers with respect, then you'll get respect and you'll see how amazing they are. If you don't, then you won't. True?
Exactly. Like, if you're gonna, like, it's like, you can't nip it at the bud, or else it's not gonna grow. Like, you can't be mean to, like, a kid and expect them to be a well-adjusted adult.
Right. But the irony is that they're mean. We can call it mean, feisty or judgmental or critical, that kind of thing, because they're scared. And then that fear gets infused into the teenager, which then makes them act differently, right? So I think that one of the ideas that I had for naming this podcast was like, hey, parents, good news. It's all your fault. And I know that wouldn't be very good for marketing, but
Yeah.
really, like, I wonder if you can get what I'm saying, though, which is that parents don't understand that they're perpetuating the negative stereotype by approaching the person who's their teenager and thus the conversations that are part of that relationship in that way. They're perpetuating the negativity that they fear.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lack of, well, I don't wanna say it like that because that sounds judgmental. It's like, it's just not being fully aware that you're acting out of your own experiences because you were a teenager once too. Like, you don't know that you're part of a cycle.
Right. Yeah, the awareness, right. So, what do you think has been the biggest challenge that you've had to face alone? Maybe you had your friends, so I don't mean totally alone, but what's the biggest challenge that you've had to face without your parents that you really wish that you'd had their support for?
Definitely the gender identity thing. Like, I mean, I don't know. That's a lot to ask, and, like, I don't know. But it just, that makes me so sad thinking back on, and I don't know. I just wish things would have been different.
Yeah, for sure. Why do you think that you're on this planet?
I think we exist just to experience, because I don't know. I really just think that we're a bunch of monkeys that evolved past our niche. Like, I feel like we were just meant to, like, eat and sleep and, like, reproduce, and then we, like, adapted to, like, better forage, and then all of a sudden we had this brain able of making an iPhone, and then here we are. I really don't think we were meant to have this consciousness, but here we are. But
That's
I think,
brilliant.
yeah.
That's awesome. I've never thought about it like that. I'm like, "What's your purpose statement?" You're like, "None." You know
That's
what's funny,
exactly how
though?
I feel, though.
Yeah,
What?
no, I love that perspective. That really takes a little pressure off people like me, that's for sure. I really love that. I think the rest of my day is gonna be a little more relaxing now. So, do you think you'll have kids someday?
Um, I don't wanna have kids of my own because pregnancy really grosses me out, and because of my past experiences with my body, I just don't think that's a good idea for me, and I really don't wanna have my own kids. But if I do have kids, I will probably foster or adopt. I don't know.
Yeah.
I am very afraid of having kids, though. I don't wanna have the responsibility of bringing up another human person.
Right. I get that. It's a lot of pressure. It sure is. And especially the way that it's all preached and arranged in our consciousness about how challenging and difficult and hard it is. And believe me, I'm not saying it's not, but I'm also thinking that people make it harder than they need to because of literally everything we've talked about up until now. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The pressure, right? We don't have to be
Sure.
perfect as parents, we just need to be real. So, what are some of the main things that, say you do have children or very advanced dogs? What are some of the things that you would want to make sure that they understand about what it is to be a person?
Um, I mean, I would really teach them to be, like, patient with others and, like, understanding, but, like and, like, I would have to do that by being patient and understanding with them, but I'd still have to challenge their ego, like, when they needed it. Like, I'd still have to be like, "Hey, you're not I understand, but you're not perfect either, buddy." So, I don't know.
I like
I
that.
would
I
just
like it a lot.
Thanks.
Yeah, both parts. The ego part is brilliant, I think, and also the part about the way that you would teach them is by being that. Do you think that that gets kind of lost in the commotion of parenting when parents, tell their kids to stop fucking cussing, you know?
Yeah. It's it's so hard to do as you say because, like, it's one thing to just, like, tell someone to be calm, but if you've ever been told to just be calm when you're upset, that just makes it so much worse, so you have to think of it that way.
Right. What's the alternative? If you could solve that problem forever of parents realizing all people, it isn't just parents, every leader, every boss, every friend, like how would you remedy that problem where people realize that who they're being and how they show up is much more powerful than what they command of others?
It's it's kinda like what you do in repetition. It's like people say that about dieting, and it's kind of the truth about, like, just being a person. Like, if you just say something sometimes, no one's going to believe you if you act differently, and, like, I don't know, if you eat poorly all the time, then of course it's not going to matter when you cook a good meal.
So just consistency is what I think I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, that is what I was trying to say, consistency.
Yeah. No, you did say it, 'cause that's what I heard. Yeah, that's great. It's just like getting back up on the horse again, right? Falling down, messing up, trying again the next day, just consistently going after it. I guess that's like the alternative to just giving up and saying, "Well, that's just how teenagers are. That's just how parenting goes," right? But just like staying in the game,
Exactly.
never giving up. Yeah, I like that. That's really great. Anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Um, I think if I had to say something to parents, I would say, "Do not yell." I really dislike yelling, but anything else? No, not really. I really said everything that I need to say.
Okay, let me hear that again. So, say that again. Okay, I actually want to re-ask my question because you just inspired me. That's perfect. Is there any message that you would want parents to hear? Any parents who are listening that would be just like an overarching, like, hey, take this with you today? What would that be?
I would ask, that you try not to yell, even though it's probably really hard because it's a reaction. It's just I really dislike it as as a grown person now.
What do you feel is the impact on you when you're yelled at?
It just I have, like, an anxious response. It doesn't make me want to deal with the problem, it just makes me wanna, like, cry.
Right. Right. And it's not like they may not have had a good point or their content wasn't fair. It's the way they expressed it,
Yeah,
right? The
I'm
met
never going to take anything away if you yell at me. I'm going to assume you're angry and irrational, probably, and I'm going to be hurt, so it's going to be me versus you now. So, I would encourage people not to yell because it's just going to be destructive.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. You are full of brilliance. I'm afraid that you are going to end up leaving a mark on the world, and you are here for a reason, so I don't want to disappoint you, but I'm really sure that you really actually are here on my life plan, which is everybody has a purpose. No pressure.
That's okay.
Yeah, you're a big deal, dude. I really, really appreciate your spending this time with me today. And I have gotten so much life and inspiration and just absolute joy from getting to talk to you today. So thank you very, very much for spending this time and sharing your stories, your experiences. Thanks for being so vulnerable. Thank you for being so open, like all of it, insightful, thoughtful. So thanks for listening. If you're a parent, I challenge you to share this episode with your kids and see what kind of conversations open up. And if you're a teenager, I challenge you today to share this episode with your parents or your guardians or your teachers and see what kind of conversations open up. Go to vbakermindset.com for all kinds of love from me. I love you. Bye.